All right, welcome to Stealth Traders, a simple method for trading profitably, a webinar presented by our very own master stealth trader, Paul Levine. We have a very special gift for you at the end, so make sure you stick around and feel free to ask questions at any time. We may answer your question during the presentation. If not, we will also be having a Q&A session at the end. And just want to remind you that there is a lot of risk involved in futures and options trading. Please be aware of that, and past performance of any trading system or methodology is not necessarily indicative of future results. And with that, I'm going to hand the reins over to Paul Levine.
Thank you, Matt. Hello, everybody. Just let us know if you can't see my screen, and also the times are posted in Pacific Standard Time. So what we're going to talk about today is the scanner with the HyperSnapback. And what the scanner does, it sends you out an email, and I'll bring the email over here where you can see that, and this is the first one that we'll look at. But it eliminates self-sabotage and negative beliefs in regards to trading. So let's get right into it. This is the HyperSnapback up on the ES 5-minute. So we'll go to the ES contract. And I'll bring in the HyperSnapback study. We'll go to the 5-minute. So the diamond right here at 10:20, which the email stated is a HyperSnapback up, is designated by this diamond, and that would be the yellow line. Now also we have the white line, which is the same rules apply to both the yellow and the white, but we're just going to be talking about the yellow today. And what we have is this diamond here indicates that we have a possible signal to go long, and that will be on this candle right here. And we go long when it's blue. This is the trend line, and we don't go long if it is magenta. This is the color that I have designated. Now what I also like to do is bring in our momentum study, which helps us manage the actual trade. We like to keep it simple here. We call it KIS, keep it simple. So through all this different noise within the market on this 5-minute, so now you're long on this candle with some slippage, maybe 247, 247, 2047, 25. The HyperSnapback overrules this actual negative in the mobile band here. Our momentum band, which is red, we only would actually go against this with the actual signal that we call the HyperSnapback. So it's predictive because you receive this in your email box. And what we like to do is have confirmation signals. For example, here, if you miss the actual entry, and you would put your stop behind the actual snapback, and that would be we'll say 6 to 10 ticks. And on this particular trade, you don't take any heat. However, if you hesitated because you weren't confident in the move and you missed it on this actual bar and you missed it on the next bar, so now we have confirmation signals, which is the trend actually turning up, and it's also going above our 150. So the simplest way to actually trade this is just by color. We have it color coded. And on this trade here, we go from 2047.50 with some slippage, and then we're out on the change of the color from blue to magenta at 2058. That's a nice move. You can deposit that in your account. What we're trying to create here is one universal money-making signal. You have a long. In this particular trade, it was a long signal, and then you'll have a short signal, and that's all that we want you to trade. It gives you a defining edge, and systematically this will put money in your account. And now we'll look at a signal that came in at 4:39 in the morning with 20 seconds on oil. So this does work overnight after the cash markets are closed. And this is CL at 4:39. And that, I believe, was a 987 tick. We'll scroll back. So here's the trade. Setup. This was your first signal. And we get a second diamond, which is showing stress and buildup, almost like a bow that you'll pull back harder and harder and harder. And then what we have here on the top as we have one initial, we don't want to go into blue, so as it turns magenta, we have two failures on these two candles. But once again, our stop is behind the actual snapback on this candle. We're just being repetitive here. 6 to 10. This is how we learn, repeating over and over again so we understand this one universal signal. So we know just from actual price action, you don't have to be an expert at it, that in order for this trade to go higher, it has to break one of these two candles. So when we're in on the actual second diamond, and that indicates the HYPOTHETICAL, and this is a downward signal. So we're short, and then once again, we don't take any heat. We get a second confirmation arrow, and this is actually a signal arrow. It's not telling us that the bands are changing from red to green. This is actually a signal arrow stating that it wants to accelerate, and then we do have some noise in the market, but it never comes after your stop. It accelerates down. We get a white snapback, so you're still in the trade. Also the trend study you don't have to get out of the trade until it actually breaks this trend, because the momentum down on CL, which is very volatile, is trending to the downside with a lot of velocity. You can also add on when you have the white snapback, or you can take some off and let a couple contracts ride. And then we're out in this area. So that's a very nice trade on oil. Another thing to remember about the HyperSnapback study is it keeps you from making bad trades. Now, how does it do that? When you have all the lines, the price line, the trend line, which follows price, the white and the yellow, when they're in and around zero or in between the 150 blue, which is a long zone, and the 150 minus, that's a sell zone. I'll just highlight that for you. And that will be in this area. The market is telling you there's too much noise in the market to not make a trade. So that's another way of utilizing the one universal signal that we want you to use, and that is the HyperSnapback. So you're just waiting for a HyperSnapback signal that is sent to you by email, and it gives you a predictive time to actually get into the trade. As it starts to develop at 4:39, it's telling you that you have a little glimpse of the future, and the trade just starts to accelerate down. This is also a wave pattern, but I don't want to get into that. That's for another webinar that we can talk about price action. Let me just erase the drawings on here. Well, here's a trade that we have sent to us via the Stealth Scanner. It's a HyperSnapback up on the NQ at 1597. So let's go to, that's the NASDAQ. We'll get into the wrinkle and range a little bit when I'm done with the actual scans. It works on any financial instrument, and as you'll see, I'll bring those up in a little while. Let's go to the 1597. It also works on a 1 minute. It works on a 133 at 266, as you'll see later. Once again, that was my snapback up on the NQ 1597 at 1026 in 41 seconds. Very nice signal. Once again, on the magenta, we're not going long. Now you do have a white with a yellow. That makes this a much more powerful signal. And that's why it just skyrockets up pretty quickly. So we're in on this candle. If you want to wait for it to change from red to green, you can do that also. But as we can see here, that it's pretty accurate. It takes away that emotion. We want you to think like a mechanical trader. We want you to master thinking and probabilities, which eliminates fear. When I trade, and anybody that I teach that trades, they have no fear when they trade. So I want to highlight again what we're looking at right here. And just to reiterate, the diamond is the HYPOTHETICAL signal. Then we also have a white, which I stated before. So we're long on this candle. I won't put in the actual tick count, but you know what it is. It's 6 to 10. And by the way, on all of these trades, we took almost no heat. And that's something that we like to teach here. A lot of students and customers that have bought our product, they would trade like with a chainsaw, and now you're learning how to trade with a scalpel. And then we have the momentum study, which tells us that it wants to ride above the top of the channel. You could lighten up when we have the first magenta, but as you can see right here, it just fires off, and once again, you make a nice deposit in your bank. We like to keep it very simple. And I believe I have, we'll look at gold. But I want to bring in, this is the 6J, it's the yen, and just to show how versatile it is. So at 919.41, at the 986, we'll bring that up. So 987. I'm going slow because I want everybody who's attending to retain what I'm saying. I don't want to just speak and just just go right through this. This is a very simple and very valuable way to trade. And this is one that I took earlier. And once again, we have our HyperSnapback, which is the diamonds that are red here. We have our magenta, which is telling us to go short. And we'll go short on this candle right here. And another thing to also look at is as price starts to go in our direction and we have signals that are telling us that it wants to accelerate down with this actual, and I will highlight this arrow, that you do have a trend change but also a signal. And then we take this trade all the way down and it's very simple. We're out at 11 because it changed color. So even though there's movements here with failures, our studies help you manage that where you don't have to just trade on pure price action or wave action. And I think what I'll do is we'll bring up gold, and then I'll look at that actual Renko range that one of the attendees wanted to see. So here's gold at 10 o'clock on the 10-minute. The 10-minute is a good time frame for signals. And this is another trade that I took earlier. So we have some choppiness in the market. Right here, like I said before, we know not when to be in the market. This will save you so much grief, understanding that when we have the white, the yellow, and the blue and magenta within our 150 plus and 150 minus, that we don't trade. And it's very simple. Oh, look, here we have a hyper snapback down. So we're going to be short when it changes to magenta. And then once again, our stop is 6 to 10 ticks. Very precise trading, very methodical. And then you follow this trade all the way down. You can lighten up in here or just get out when the momentum band changes. Gold is a very valuable, it's $100 per point. And this really, there's nothing out there that would pick this up that I'm aware of to actually know to go short here with all this noise that's in the market. And I think on that we've shown you and we've proved to you how simple it is to trade. Like I said before, we want you to trade in probabilities, which eliminates fear. You can trade on one market until you get comfortable with the system. We're here for you. We have unlimited education when you buy our products, and we do webinars weekly. Would like to just take this one question because I had a feeling someone was going to ask about it. Let me just, this is regards to Rinko and range bars. And then Matt can actually fill in, because I'm not actually looking at any of this chat box. Matt can fill in on some of the questions. So we'll delete this. We'll keep it here on the 10-minute. And I'll answer that question. Here's a range. We'll do different ones. Just look at a 7. So look, it works on a range, 7 range. Here's yet a parabolic move. Here's your hyper snapback. I will highlight it for you. And we're short. Pretty amazing that it works even on a range or a Rinko, whatever you want. A lot of systems, and they just don't do this. This is fractal. You can look that up. You can Google it. You can research. It works on any time frame, tick, range. It'll work on one tick. So here you're short on this candle, and you're all the way down. I particularly don't like to use these because you get more information from a candlestick because you're just range bound on this bar. Each bar is 7. So you had a successful trade there. Let's look at, I'll even give you a different range. Matt, are there any questions that you actually have for me?
Yes, there are some questions. So when you
Let me just change this range. I'll go to even a shorter one. Let's do a 2. We have some whites. This is a little more volatile. But like I said, the white also applies, has the same rules as the actual yellow. You can see here, pulls down, you have a snapback, a regular snapback. I'll highlight that for you again. You're short on this candle. You take the trade all the way down. You can stay down until it changes. Here's your sell signal. So that's more money deposited in your account. Okay, Matt, I'll take some questions.
Okay, so one of our viewers would like you to show an example from an hourly or daily chart, maybe gold or the S&P for a longer term look.
Sure will. Let's look at the hourly. Let me give you some more days here. So we can see there on this hourly, it's giving you, it's not the diamond, but there is a spread that you have to wait for this to develop. I wouldn't go short on this, although you can if you want to. But you can see all the successive and successful white hyper snapbacks.
Yeah, Paul, I see a HyperSnapback on the left there. Scroll to the left. There's one on 319.
Have it right here. And I'm going to highlight this for our viewers. There's the hyper snapback. This is a really nice move. It'll definitely keep you happy because it's such a precise entry that you can enter on this candle. Of course, you can go back and use a smaller time frame, with an hourly. You can use a 10-minute, a 15-minute, and as I showed you how versatile it is, if you have smaller studies, smaller time frames, tick and time combined, it'll get you in precisely on this candle right here. We can look at a daily too. Do you want to look at a daily on gold, Matt?
How about let's try a weekly? How about a weekly S&P?
Sounds good. Yeah, ES or because I just have futures on my AMP account here.
Sure.
All right, let's look at. Pretty amazing move. You have a lot of people always say the market's overbought. This market has gone up for 6 years, and you can see. We'll just start from We'll start from the beginning here. Let me just get rid of some of the drawings. But none of these snapbacks have failed, either yellow or white, on a weekly. These are all positive. Everyone is positive. Here's a hyper snapback. I will highlight this for you. So now you're really seeing the versatility of the hyper snapback system, and these are scanned to you. You can be paying a bill, just not even looking at your monitors, and you get a ding-a-ling-a-ling on your email, and your chart's all ready to go. Like I said, we like to keep it really simple. You're going to trade mechanically. There's no emotion involved in this. You can actually hear that in my voice. It just treads along. So on this weekly, let's say you had an option. This is the future contract. You can do an option on a future, or you want to do an option on the SPY or the SPX. This is a lot of money right here. And you're in this trade on this candle, which is like a dragon, or just an inverted or a hammer, which is showing that the market's pushing up. And you can use a 4-hour to enter on this, and look, 1 week, 2, 3, 4. It's just amazing how it works. None of these have failed in many years. Here's another HyperSnapback. It's blue. You can trade it right here. It's very valuable, the scanner with the HyperSnapback. I want to read something. Dale Kerner, he bought this about 10 days ago or so, and he's on the Chicago Board of Exchange. He trades grains on the floor there, and he wrote me about the scanner, which sends him signals, and he has a HyperSnapback. He sent me a personal note this morning, and I'll read it to you. He said, okay, 9 days straight of profits with the scanner, starting to get in a rhythm, pulling up the charts, and now I know what I'm looking for in the indicators. I think you're all right, Paul. The scanner is a game changer. Thanks, Dale Kerner. You can look him up. You need to get this. You won't regret it. Matt, any other questions?
Yes, we have quite a few actually, and we're going to take them in order here. Okay, Paul, can you repeat how can I recognize choppy sideways market cycles with the HyperSnapback indicator?
Sure. Let's go to. Well, what it does is when the three lines are in between. Let's go down to. That's a very good question. And let's look at a 30-minute. So in this area right here, and my eyes just focused right on it. It's a little choppy on the 30-minute because it's in between the long zone and the sell zones. But let's even focus even more. Let's go to a 5-minute. Now remember, you're going to only trade the HyperSnapbacks. This is the universal signal that we've created for you for a long and a short. So in this area, this is where it's choppy. So when these lines are running in between, and we'll write this out for you. So this is a long zone above the 150. And that is above this line, anywhere above that line. That's your long zone. And then I'm going to mark for you sell zone. And that's minus 150. And that would be this line right here. So whenever we have the white, the yellow, and our trend line, which is blue and magenta, we're not trading. Now there are other ways to trade, but that's not what we're talking about here. You can purchase our full stealth mode, and we can have webinars and like I said, teaching. Whatever you buy is lifetime teaching. You can call us, or you can email us. Does that satisfy the question?
Yes, that I believe so. Let's move on to the next one. Can you please explain again the white and the yellow lines, the difference?
Okay, there's a proprietary formula which all three of these lines have, and it's a secret, but as you can see here, what they do is they look for differences in price from, per se, this particular ES contract and let's say the SPX, which is the actual cash. The ES is the future for that. So it looks, the best way that I can explain it, it looks for an anomaly here, and it finds it for you. In other words, the trend line is following basically price, and it's scanning like radar to tell you, okay, you have an actual potential long here, which is designated by the diamond, and now you also have a white and a yellow together. So the best that I can explain it to you is it's giving you a glimpse in the future. No one else in the market sees this. Look at the actual bars. They're all red. Everybody's going short here. You know before this, with both of these signals, that you have a glimpse of the future. I mean, how amazing is that? Who's going to give you that? And then you're long. And then everybody else is getting in after you're already in the trade. I hope I answered the question for you.
Let me take a step.
Unless you have something to add. Go ahead, man.
The yellow line, that's the hyper snapback line, and the white line is what we call the regular snapback line. Now they're both based on anomalies in price. It's that the hyper snapback, the yellow line, is a higher percentage generally than the white regular snapback line, but they both are highly effective.
Very good, and that's how we want you to define your edge with this one universal signal. You can do this all day long. It doesn't matter what the market's doing. You're going to get these signals, and they're going to be sent to you via email. And like I said, we're here for you, and we like to keep it simple for you. This is not complicated.
Okay, Paul, we have another question. When do you know it's time to close the trade, or when's a good time? How do you know when to exit the trade? I mean, we spent a lot of time on the trade on the entry signal. Could you just go over a little more on when to get out?
Well, on this ES in a 5-minute, let me just clean this chart a little bit. And every question is a good question. So what we have our hyper snapback signal, which is the yellow, and that's right in this area right here. I'm going to point that out. So we understand that. So now what we've done is, just to show you, if I take away the trend study, well, now I have to rely on price action. I don't know where to get out of this. Now I have a couple of things here. Like I said, we're long when it's blue. And that's right here. So you have one confirmation. You don't get out of this trade until it changes color. So that's this entire move right here. Now why I put on the actual trend study, it helps us manage the trade. We'll put that back on. So we have confirmation on what price action is doing, and our trend study is stating we don't get out until it changes color up here, and right on this particular, when it turns red, that's a sell signal right here. That's a sell signal. So look how simple it is. You got in with some slippage. Let's say you didn't get out in this candle. You got in at, let's say, 2047.50, and you're out You can be out here at 2050, 650. The HyperSnapback study gets you out a little bit earlier on this candle. I think that explains it pretty well. So these two studies will help you also manage the trade, so you don't get faked out or scared out.
Okay, great. So one question says, do you have a market analyzer for the signals?
What is he referring to, a market analyzer that
I don't
gives
know.
us?
We're going to need some more clarification
Yes.
on that question. Also, how do you handle the money management?
And pertaining to how many contracts you would put on?
I believe that may be what the person is referring to.
Well, money management is a risk reward that the actual individual investor wants to do. But with this signal, you can add on a lot more contracts. You can see how valuable, and we can go all day long and just show you how accurate the actual signal is. We almost took no heat on any one of these trades. So you can add on, instead of 1 or 2 contracts, you can add on 5 to 10. Whenever I see an actual hyper snapback, I put everything down on the table. And then I allow my studies to keep me into the trade. And you don't even have to understand price action. I mean, in this particular, with price action, you have to break lower here in order for it to go lower. It has to break. It's almost like a double bottom here. But you don't even need that with the trend study and the hyper snapback. So this signal that we've created for you, this is all you need to trade. And you can put as much as you want, because you're getting a signal that's very valuable. It's showing an anomaly that I think we've clearly demonstrated here, which is a game changer.
Okay, great. Another question, would you please explain how the email alert works?
Yeah, you might want to handle that one.
Okay, sure.
I can bring one up on the screen.
The Stealth Scanner scans 20 different futures instruments. We have a list on the website. If you click on the Stealth Scanner section of the website, some currencies, indices, energies, and it scans them, each instrument, on 8 different time frames. So in reality, it's scanning 180 different charts, and it just sends you an email when there's a hyper snapback on any particular chart. So instead of sitting around staring at your screen all day, you get an email, you say, oh, there's a hyper snapback down on the ES 3200 chart. So then you go to the chart, you look at the chart, and then you wait. You don't necessarily enter right away. You wait, as Paul has described, you wait for the trend line, in this case, if it's going down, to turn magenta, and then that's when you would enter your trade. So this
is what the actual email would look like. Hyper snapback up on the NQ 1597. It gives the time, and we had actually demonstrated this one. Go ahead, Matt.
No, I think we covered that one. So sign up for this Stealth Scanner. It makes trading a lot easier, a lot more fun, and you'll be trading instruments a lot more. You'll be trading a lot more instruments as well. I know certainly I have. You get an alert on CL or on the 6B or HG, and the setup looks good, and you're in. Okay, let's move on to some more questions. It says, let's see, can you run a back test on it? That's a good question. I mean, we'll have to look that up, and we will get back to you on that. Off the top of my head, I believe that you can. The only problem with running a back test, which we found out through all our analysis of these indicators, is that backtest data is only on bar close. So if you're running live in the market, it's tick by tick, but backtest data is only open, close, high, low data. Also with backtests, you have no control over your entry. So you really want to watch the chart and then choose the entry based upon how the trend line is moving. So with a back test, that really wouldn't apply because you wouldn't have that ability to indicate in the back test when that would happen.
It's still accurate in the back testing, though.
Yes, even though in that situation, it's still highly accurate in the back test. So someone asked, does the alert give you the price? No, the scanner alert doesn't give you the price. It just gives you the instrument and the chart, and obviously the time you get the alert, it's instantaneous from when the setup occurred. So you would need to go to the chart, and you'll see where the price is at that time, and look at the trend line, and make your move accordingly. Okay, someone asked, the trend line I'm referring to is the line that's blue and magenta. So as we call it the trend line or the price line, Paul is highlighting it right now. As we explained, like in this HyperSnapback here, you would want to wait to enter when the trend line, the blue line, is heading in the upward direction. That would be your entry signal. And on a downward snapback down, you would want to wait till the trend line would be the magenta color.
And we demonstrated those. I believe the webinar will be on our educational page in our YouTube channel, so you can reference back to it. I think we covered that because we covered longs and shorts here.
Right, and let's see if we have any more questions. I like to trade about 3 hours a day in the AM and then take care of the ranch. How well does your system work for this parameter?
This is perfect for you. We want you to trade, for example, if you're on the East Coast, that would be 9:30. You can trade for 2 hours, and you'll get multiple signals. And then Matt, you can go on from there if you like.
Yes, I mean, you can set your own hours, and I mean, there's setups going all day long. And in fact, on average, you may get over 200 setups a day. And of course, some of those are during the overnight session as well. But there's plenty of setups to choose from, and if you miss one, you just take the next one. It's like waiting for a bus. You miss the bus, and another one is going to show up. Okay, another person asked, is there a free trial? Unfortunately, we don't have a free trial. However, I'm going to get to that special gift I spoke about earlier. Now, in the chat box here, the chat box here, I just entered a discount code on our website, so we have 20% off all indicators with this discount code. All caps, webinar 326. Now that's only good for today, and it expires at midnight Eastern time tonight. So if you have any interest in getting the HyperSnapback indicator or our momentum band or even the full stealth mode, now would be a great time to do that. 20% off, every indicator, and please tell your friends. The code will work for them too. But remember, it's going to expire at midnight Eastern time tonight. Now, also, we didn't really demonstrate the full stealth mode today because we didn't want to just throw too much at you at once. We will be having other webinars. We plan to do them every week. And we had another question about the accuracy of the indicators. The HyperSnapback indicator is 80-85% plus. It's highly accurate. Just make sure that you choose the entry when the trend line is going in your direction, and you'll actually you'll be surprised how accurate it is.
And we will help you develop that too. Like I said, the education is free. You can contact us by phone or email.
Yes, here I'm going to put.
We're not going to abandon you. We're here for you. We understand how you need to be able to. If you're not a mechanical trader, we're going to make you a mechanical trader.
Right. I just entered our phone number into the chat box. Please feel free to call us at any time. We're happy to talk with you, with other traders, anytime. Answer all your questions. Help with any issues you could potentially be having, or ways to improve your trading. Also want to let you know that with the full stealth mode, we have a free half-hour private one-on-one Skype session where we teach you how to use it. That offer is available all the time. Also want to let you know that we will be posting a copy. We're recording this webinar, so we're going to be posting that on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/stealthtraders. And if you're interested in buying any of our indicators or the full stealth mode, all the information is on our website, stealthtraders.com. Just go there, and we also have videos for each indicator as well that also helps explain that. So I'm sorry, we may not have gotten to every single question. We apologize if we were not able to answer yours, but please, like I said, we'd be happy to respond by email or just give us a call, and we will answer your question. And with that, we'd like to thank everybody for attending today. We hope it was very informative, and we always like to close out by saying best of trades. And again, any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us, and please take advantage of our 20% discount offer on all indicators. It's only good today through midnight Eastern time tonight, so that would be 9 p.m. Pacific time. So thanks again, and best of trades.